Great pro point breakdown. Let's take a look at this point first, and then we'll take it apart piece by piece. I think you're going to like this. All right, on the near side of the court, returning serve, we have Jessie Irvin and her partner, Jeff Warnick. And just take a look at some of the similarities and differences here between the two. Look how alert Irvin is, ready to go, 2 hands on the paddle. Warnick is just checking out the court next door. So calm out there. Notice how far back both of them are behind their line. Jessie well behind the baseline and Jeff well behind the non-volley line. You're often told that you should be standing still when you hit the ball, but look what Irvin does here, and this is very common amongst the pros, moving through the return of serve. That means she's got her momentum going the direction she wants as she hits that ball. Some teams like to stack, but more commonly we're seeing players cross, and that is because it adds a little bit of uncertainty for the other team, not being sure who's going to go where. You can see here Warnick is taking up so much space in the middle of the court. He is a tall man. It's going to be very difficult for their opponents to get the ball to Irvin if that is in fact what they're trying to do. Sometimes people think they should be right on top of that non-volley line or just barely behind it. You see here Warnick gives himself a little bit of breathing room. That way he doesn't have to worry about a possible NVZ violation. There's a decision to be made here. First of all, Warnick and Irvin have to decide who is going to play that ball. Is it in the middle of the court and Warnick's going to get it, or is it far enough that it's Irvin's? It is in fact far enough over to the Irvin backhand, so now she has a new decision to make. Should she play this ball out of the air as a volley or let it bounce? She decides to let it bounce, and now she has another decision to make. Is she going to attack this ball or is she not? Now this is important to point out. Notice how low the ball is right here. She's going to have to hit up on it. Difficult to attack when you're also hitting up. That, of course, is the whole point of a third shot drop, is to force the opponents to hit up so they can't do a whole lot of damage. Notice here their opponent, Rafa Hewitt, we see here, he is crashing the net. He is trying to put pressure on Irvin to get his paws on anything he can if that ball sits up a bit too high. Irvin plays a nice cross-court backhand to her other opponent, Belinda Zabindin. And I love the way that Zabindin receives this ball. She's got such a solid base, well-balanced. You can see how focused she is on hitting this ball well. And her impact point is out front between her body and the net. And that's really important. It's a strong hitting position. Makes it easier to control the ball. Speaking of controlling the ball, the paddle angle is what controls the direction the ball travels. And you can see it is clearly lined up cross-court. So that's what Irvin and Warnick are looking for, to try to tell where is that ball going to go. Zabindin does a nice job of playing it cross-court enough that Warnick can't reach in and get it, forcing Irvin to play a backhand of her own. Notice how Zabindin and Hewitt are square to the ball. They want to bisect the angle. They want to make sure they're ready whether that ball comes to their forehand or backhand. So you see that little tilt toward the ball. And again, we can look at the paddle angle and how that influences the direction. You can see here that Irvin's backhand is going to go cross-court. Once again, I love the way that Zabindin receives this ball. Look at this little shuffle step she takes. It's explosive. She gets there set up nice and early to receive that ball and again to make contact out front. Now you may remember a moment ago that she hit this backhand cross court. You can see in the picture above, but here's the down the line. And you see everything about the setup is pretty much the same. The one difference, and she does a good job of this, the one difference is just slightly changing the paddle angle. Nice job of disguising this ball by Zabindin. So here's a critical moment here. This ball goes down the line. Warnick is not able to get it out of the air. It's a little bit risky there to go down the line over the higher part of the net to the shorter part of the court against such a tall opponent. But Zabindin does a good job. And notice here that Warnick makes his decision to let this ball bounce. He takes a little step forward with his left foot to push off and then to step back. Now, if any of you have gone through a bunch of pickleball shoes because you get holes in your toes, well, this is sort of how it happens. You can see Warnick dragging his left foot here. Players will do this often to slow themselves down as they're getting ready to hit the ball. And notice here that there is a hole in the middle, or is there? Irvin is staying at home even though Warnick has come out pretty wide to play this forehand dink. And you got to think here that Zabindin and Hewitt were both thinking there might be a hole in the middle of the court between Warnick and Irvin. They clearly do, and that's why Zabindin attacks through the middle there. But look at that. Irvin was sitting on that forehand. She was ready for that ball. Nice counterattack. Zabindin gets all twisted up here, and she knows that she fell for the trap. that Irvin had set there. Let's look at this point one more time from start to finish. Nice job here from Irvin and Warnick, sort of setting a trap, staying nice and calm, and when that attack does go through the middle, being able to counterattack nicely with that Jesse Irvin forehand.